Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
If you're a fan of comic books and comic book conventions, Daytona Beach Comic Con needs to be on your list of must-attend events. It's a show that actually focuses on comic books. Imagine that! This year's event is happening on Saturday, September the 6th, and Sunday, September the 7th. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. There's a new convention in town, and it's sure to be mega fun without the mega expense. Comics, toys, collectibles, pop culture. ShadowCon, Saturday, February 1st, 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. If you find yourself in the Orlando area, and let's be honest, doesn't everyone come to Orlando for the House of Mouse? Head over to Coliseum of Comics to get your comic book fix. Be sure to check out their location on East Colonial Drive, where they carry a wide selection of independent comics, including Silverline books. Stop by and don't forget to tell them Silverline sent you. Hey, if you're an independent comic creator looking to get your comic printed, look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our comics and do a fantastic job. They can even print special edition covers. When you reach out to them, be sure to tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline. Welcome to Silverline Silver Sunday. This Sunday, February the 16th.
Good Lord.
I know it. I'm your host, I'm Roland Man, and I am excited to be here with you tonight. And of course, I am joined by that man in the mask guy, Mr. Mike W. Belcher. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Mike.
And we're also joined by an homage of himself, Mr. Tom Mason.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
What's up, Tom?
Or a regional facsimile.
That's right. Yes,
Right.
I'm like a dot matrix version of myself tonight.
Yeah. I didn't bring a book over here. Beyond the Stars, they're here. They're sitting over on my table, which you can't see, which is right over there, ready to be packaged up and shipped out. They're not at the post office yet, so don't be looking just yet. I think those should probably start going out on because I had day job conflicts this week, so I couldn't get to them, but I should be able to get to them this week. So I'm anticipating all the packages out by Friday at the latest.
And Monday's a post office holiday anyway.
True.
Yeah. Well, so the cool thing is, all right, so we use Pirate Ship. So the cool thing is Pirate Ship doesn't take a holiday, so I can load it all up, print the labels, get all the books ready, and schedule a pickup for whenever. So I can still do it tomorrow, and the post office will pick them up from me at my house tomorrow. I'm sorry, on Tuesday. So I don't have to go to the. That's one of the things. That's one of the things that made us love Pirate Ship, is because before we were having to do all these things and then take these big boxes up to the post office. wait up there and then go through them one at a time with the postmaster and just, sit there while he does all of the stuff. And then we don't have to do that anymore. They come pick them up at our house.
Also,
So-
that's a great name too, pirate ship. What, dude?
Right.
Yeah, I would love to be in the meeting where someone thought of that. And it's like, boing, yes, we're taking that.
Yeah. So, and they print us if we've got your email, that'll be attached in once we enter you in the system. I can't remember once you're entered in the system or if it's once it's scanned. But they zap you an email that says, here's your tracking. You can track it. And I don't have to worry about trying to send all those individually. Now I do have to enter it all into Pirate Ship, but I've been doing it long enough. A lot of our backers are already there, so I just start typing in a name and they pop up. I do have to check addresses though. Sometimes people change addresses, and I have accidentally sent one to a wrong address, and they're like, "Hey, I moved last year," and I'm like, "Oh man, crap." So yeah.
The trick is don't move.
That's right. Yeah.
You want comics, stay in one place.
Yeah. As one who has moved a handful of times, I have sympathy for the folks who moved. So
I have like 14 different addresses for you over the years.
I know.
Where in the heck is Roland Man?
I've moved more than anyone I know. That's why when people talk about moving and complaining, I'm like, nah, it's not a big deal. You just put yourself in a bunch of boxes and move.
You move more than a guy in the army who keeps getting reassigned.
Yeah. Does not mean I enjoy it, but it's not hard. Moving, BJ and I talk about this a lot. Moving out to California was not a horrible experience. Moving back from California to Mississippi was terrible. We dealt with the long story short. If anyone's moving from California, do not use the company called Mr. Move. They quoted us. If I don't hold me to the numbers here, but they quoted us something like 2,300. Right, we'll move you for 20. And keep in mind, this was 97, 96, 97,
right?
97, yeah. So they gave us that quote. Then they loaded everything up. After they had everything on their truck, they said, "Oh, actually, it's going to be $4,400." I'm like, "No, you said $2,300 or 20, whatever it was, right? Something like that." And he goes, "Well, no, you had more than." I said, "You saw it all. You came in my house and you looked at everything. You came in my house and you looked and you gave me a price. I didn't trick you. I didn't bring a whole bunch of stuff and add it, here." He goes, "Well, that's the price." So, all right, well, just take it all back off. I can't pay for it. He goes, "Well, it's on my truck now, isn't it?" And I said, "So what do you say?" And he goes, "Well, you got to come up with the money if you want your stuff back." Oh my gosh. And I just said, "All right, I don't have that money, but I'll figure it out. Get it to Mississippi and I'll get you your money." We called the federal government. The international, I forget, it's been so many years, I forget what, the Highway Commission, Trade Commission, something like that. And these guys knew Mr. Move by name. And we're familiar with those guys. Well, why didn't you tell me before I paid them any money or let them have my stuff? So,
and apparently they're not the only company that does that, by the way. There are a number of companies that once they get your stuff on the truck, it's like, "Oh, we would like some more."
Yes. Well, and apparently the Highway Commission this is before our stuff arrived in Mississippi. He said, if you're lucky, they won't take it to the Arizona desert and dump it. I said, "Do what?" He goes, "Oh yeah, they've already got half your money." He said, "Rather than deliver it to you," he said, "they'll take it to Arizona and dump it out there, and then you can file a claim." I'm like, "No, no, I want my stuff."
File a claim. It's going to be covered in buzzard poop by then.
Yeah.
So, as it happens, so we watched them. It was a whole all-day process. We watched them wrap everything in bubble wrap, and we were packing and they were packing, and when it got there, everything had been unwrapped and opened and thrown in boxes, and they stole probably you've seen one of those little those moving crates, those that people put in the front yards. I forget what those things are called.
Those dumpster-looking things.
Yeah, but they're enclosed. They look like a cube. Yeah, they've got a door. You can put all your stuff in it and sit there, and then you can say, "Hey, yeah, pods." Thank you.
Yeah, pods. Yeah, I couldn't think of it either.
That we probably lost a pod worth of stuff to. Excuse me. We probably lost a pod's worth of stuff to them. They just stole our crap. In fact, Tom, during Hank's wedding, Mr. Move said, "Oh, we have some of your stuff here that didn't make it onto the truck." So my dad, I went to Hank's wedding. My dad flew out, and after Hank's wedding was over, we rented another small U-Haul, got our stuff from Mr. Move, and drove. He and I made that drive back from California together. But it was a small but we still didn't get it all.
Right.
It was. Mr. Move became Mr. Extortion real fast. What's up, David A. Scooterez?
It's like the beginning of a Criminal Minds episode.
Yeah, I have nothing nice to say. And the weird thing about it is, they put little orange stickers on all of our boxes, and all of my comic boxes. And every now and then, one will pop off, and I'm like, I don't like you guys. Right?
You get to get sticker PTSD.
No, it's terrible. Yeah. So, all right. Pop says, for Madness programming, info, booking, sponsors, and sponsorship opportunities at our store, the HTT. Just go to themeg.tv.
Does anyone say HTTPS anymore?
I don't. Yeah, it's like I don't know who. I wanted to say www, but it's like wait, the HTTPS threw me off. Pops says, "Hey yo, what's up, Pops?" And then he says, "Hey yo, from the Rumble, what's up, Pops? Thank you so much." For those of you who don't know Pops' name, which you should, Pops is a man who puts all this together, puts this entire network of all your favorite geeky shows, including your Silverline shows. So
we would not be here if it wasn't for Pops.
We would not be here. Certainly not like we are. So thank you. Hats off to you, Pops. Tommy is at Pensacon this weekend. He is probably closing up his table about now. Maybe finding his way to the hotel bar at this point in time. We kind of anticipate a Tommy flyby, but who knows?
Also, convention report next week.
Yeah.
Yes, so we anticipate a convention report from him next week. Pensacon is a big show up in the Panhandle of Florida. So Tommy's there. Of course, we were talking about a little bit before. Stephen Butler's there. I think Mitch Bird's probably there. Barry's usually there, but not there this year. And a whole host of other. Mike Barron is there. So there's a whole host of comic geekness, as well as all your regular celebrity the folks that we just don't care about.
All the really good looking nerd actors and actresses are there.
That's right. Only they're old now.
That's right.
Nothing better to do.
When you walk into the convention center, you're like, "Who is that?" Oh no, they look terrible now.
Yeah. You're like, oh man, or they show the picture of what was it? Aaron Gray from
from
Rogers.
Yeah. You're like, oh man, oh yeah, and then you're like, where is she? She's that old lady over there. Oh no,
it's a dream killer.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. So,
but they're really nice though. I mean, they're just
most of them are. Most of them are. Yeah. Not all really nice. I bumped into one or two that were not.
And we've worked with one or we've worked with one or two that are not.
But yes, most of them are very nice. So, any other news, fellas?
Yeah, I think the Twilight Grim ships on Wednesday. Does it not?
It should. Yes. That would be Twilight Grim number 3. Yeah, I got to go on my master list here so I can keep up with everything here. Yeah, Twilight Grim number 3. So, and in the solicitations that I just sent in, that's 2 months away. Cat and Mouse #1 is still in the solicitations in your previews catalog this month. So if you still get your books from a shop, if you are a shop owner, please consider adding those to your order form. The way it's set up, if you order 5 copies of the regular cover, you can order a copy of the foil covers that we are going to release to the stores for that.
And it's a good looking issue too.
Yeah, it really is. And shh, this is a secret. We're going to do this the same thing for Divinity next month too, which has a gorgeous Jeff Johnson cover.
Yes, it does.
So get that ordered. You still got probably another 2 weeks for that. So, but don't delay. Order it now. So, we still don't know what's going to go on with Diamond. Everyone's always asking me, "What are you guys going to do?" We're just going to have to wait and see. That's the main thing. But I will say this: we put together a little something that in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about distribution with a couple of special guests. I'll let you know more about it at the end of the show. But we're going to have a couple special guests join us in 2 weeks to talk about distributions and the problems and maybe some of the fixes. And of course, this is a month before we really know anything about Diamond. But could be big changes. Who knows?
TikTok, time is running out.
That's right. And people have asked me, are you still sending solicitations to Diamond? And the answer is yes. Anyone who knows me knows I'm the eternal optimist. So I am operating as if Diamond is still going to be there. I have to make that assumption. I have to assume that someone's going to come along and says, I got money. I want Diamond. Here you go. Let's keep going. So whether that's going to be the case or not, I don't know, but I am operating under that. Okay. Other news, Mike, got any news?
I don't think so right now.
No. All right. Well, Roberta is not going to make it here either. I don't remember if she had a reason, but she's not going to make it.
She chose to see Dogman.
Oh, that's right. She's going to see Dogman. I did see Captain Falcon this weekend. Anybody else see that one?
No. I want to though, really badly.
Yeah. Well, I'll hold off because it's brand new, and I don't like to say things before people go get to seeing it. But I like seeing it. I like seeing it on the big screen. I'm still a big screen guy.
Well, that's the thing now. It's the little tiny artsy movie where people are just drinking and yakking it up. I can see that on my television. But
yes.
But a big spectacle movie,
right?
Where it's it's special effects, it's big chases, big fights, big CGI characters or whatever. I got to see that on the big screen.
Got a big red Harrison Ford Hulk. I got to go see that on the big screen.
That's the thing too. If you told me like 40 years ago when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, and you said, he's going to be the Red Hulk someday, and I'd be like, no, dude, no way. And then all of a sudden,
I know. I saw apparently someone quoted him, and they said they asked him about being in it. He goes, I've just seen all of these actors that are playing in these comic book movies, and they look like they're having fun, and I want to have some fun.
Yeah.
So
that's money.
That's the other thing too, is he's had a long career of doing stuff where he's just made left turns.
Yes.
It's just like he'll make a movie, he'll make some sort of arty movie, and then he'll strap on a pair of six guns and make a big adventure movie, and then he'll do another family drama movie where he has some kind of cancer or some kind of like a bullet stuck in his head or whatever. And then he'll go and do something else where he puts on guns. And he has a drama series on Apple, I think, called Shrinking.
Really? He's doing a Western too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be having a blast. And then in between movies, he still crashes his airplane around Hollywood. So he's
What was that movie that he was a really nasty lawyer guy and he lost his memory? And
Regarding Henry.
Regarding Henry. Yeah, man, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. His daughter teaches him so many things, and he's like, he learns that I was a pretty bad guy, wasn't I?
Right. Well, all those movies are like Oscar bait, though. It's like, it's the nasty person who suddenly gets a bullet in his head, and it's like then he becomes like a nice person, has to relearn everything again, and his family's like, man, why weren't you like this 40 years ago, Dad? We love you.
That's
Then somebody
right.
gives him an Oscar.
Oscar bait. I've never heard that one. Well, all right. So tonight we're talking about ripoffs or inspired by. So and we're going to cover the whole spectrum. We're not and just so anybody who's listening, we're not targeting anybody. We're not going after anybody. This is not
Oh, then I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I'm not doing it.
You know, we're not after somebody going, aha, I got you. You know, there's as you're going to see tonight, there's some of them I'm a fan of. Excuse me. But what we want to talk, we're going to talk about characters and covers and stories and maybe even costumes and things like that. Are they ripoffs or are they inspired by? Right. A lot of times, and when we talk about covers, they're often called, or today they're frequently called homage covers.
Homages.
You know, this is an homage to this character. And so I gotta.
A couple of things has happened because in the old days, some artists who we won't name used to just trace stuff outright and just put a different costume on the character, but it was an identical pose. And other more modern artists will take a situation from an older comic and do sort of the same pose, but it's not traced. It really does look like it's inspired by it, and they'll acknowledge it in the credits on the cover or whatever, which just says, "This is my, this is basically a comic I grew up as a kid. I love this drawing, and this is my, I put my Hulk character in my Superman pose."
Right.
And so it's definitely not traced. It's just it really is like an inspirational.
Well, and
that's different.
When I was a kid, we're talking 7th and 8th grade, I traced the stuff because I couldn't draw. But I'm like, I want this cool image, so I'm going to trace it. If you look at my copy of Avengers #9, you can still see the indentations where I traced Wonder Man from the cover.
Well, you're not supposed to press down, Roland. It's tracing paper.
I didn't. I was in 7th grade. So I'm seeing all these images Mike just sent me, so I'm trying to load those up over here. But at some point, and I tell, anytime I talk to a young artist, I tell them, look, that's fine. You want to start off tracing, we're talking about when you're, 12, 13, 14, 15, start off tracing because that will get the pencil and the, but you gotta move on from that to your own stuff. Right. Tracing is, so I've ever told you guys was not my class, but I heard the story. So a creative writing instructor, he said one of the things that he always heard from his students was that, I love to write, but writing a novel that's just so many words. It's just so long. I don't think I could do it. Right. And so, he came up with this plan. And so their first week they were in school, they had a required text. It was a paperback. Or I can't remember. Maybe he gave it to them. He gave them all the exact same paperback, right? The big thick one. And he goes, okay, so your assignment for the week, right? Next week, you're going to bring back this novel that you have retyped word for word. And he makes them just take that novel and type it in word for word for word, right? And of course, they ever, I don't want to do that, right? But when he gets in, or when he comes back that week, he said, all right, so you've just spent the last week typing in this whole novel. Now you know that you can type in a novel in 1 week. So no more griping and complaining about writing a novel, which I think is a great illustration.
Yeah, and then try to get all those novels published.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think we can say his name because he has said this publicly, but Wally Wood used to say, I think the quote is, never draw what you can copy, never copy what you can trace.
Yes.
Never trace. And so I think that became a mantra for like a generation of comic book guys.
Yeah.
And Neil Adams did the exact same thing. Neil Adams was never shy about saying that he took photographic and he went over it.
Yep.
I mean, that was a lot of his style. I mean, yeah, he would put his flourishes on it afterwards, but a lot of stuff was photographic, and look at Alex Ross. I mean, look at all these people that, they take their stuff and they kind of lift it.
Well, okay, so here's the question then, right? Is that a ripoff or is that inspired by?
Well, that's production, I think.
It's production. That's getting it done.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I would add an asterisk to that, though. I would say if it's your photograph, that's production.
Yep.
I would say if that's someone else's photograph, that's a ripoff.
Well, there used to be a machine, I'm sure there still is, called an artograph, which is where you would put the page on the thing you're going to trace on the left side of the drawing board, and it had a pencil on the right hand side. It was like a mechanical arm,
Yeah.
and you would just trace the existing drawing, and it would reproduce it on the drawing board exactly as you traced it.
Yeah.
And so it was like having a third arm, and so that was a mechanical device that a number of artists used back in the 60s and early 70s.
Yeah. I've seen those. I know what you're talking about. But I still make the claim, though, if it's your photograph, that's fine. But if it's someone else's photograph, that's a ripoff. That's not even inspired by, I would say.
Pays the same.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
And think about all the artists that we have today that started off as, some people would say inspired by, and some people would have said ripped off. Think of Steranko and Kirby, or Barry Windsor Smith and Kirby, and so many others with Kirby, and then watch how their style developed after those initial years.
I've said this before, but Conan the Barbarian is one of my favorite comics, just to watch the evolution of Barry Windsor Smith, because you see the first couple issues of Conan, and you can see, well, he's aping Kirby. He's not necessarily tracing him, but he's drawing just like Kirby would draw this stuff. And then over time, Barry Windsor Smith sort of evolves on that monthly book. He evolves into the Barry Windsor Smith that we know basically before our very eyes because of the monthly schedule.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't really get that chance anymore in comics because comics are more like this than they used to be. Yeah. But back then, you could actually watch a guy become himself.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, I have seen that popping around the internet a little bit. Is that, one of the things missing in independent comics today is that we don't have any long running titles. Back in the 80s, there were long running independent titles that you could kind of count on, mostly regular, they were independent, so they might not always be there every single month, but they were mostly regular. But I mean, what do we have today? We don't have that many today.
Well, we don't have as many crazy people now as we used to back then.
Yeah.
And the delivery system and the industry has sort of changed.
It has. Yeah.
It used to be there was an infrastructure that could support that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now there really isn't.
And I also think that and this part of the Silverline model that we talked about several years ago when we first started, is our idea was to go toward the trades, which is where all the buyers are going. All the buyers are going toward the trades. And so why do we want to try to focus on a long running story when we can, let's tell a smaller story, collect it into a trade, because the trade is what we're trying to get to anyway.
Well, also I think, like, if you're writing Batman, and again, no disrespect to anybody who's writing Batman, but if you're writing Batman, you're just the latest person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing maybe you'll do a year or two at best on the title before you move on. But if you're creating your own thing and you've got your own story to tell, like, I've got 4 issues, and then I want to tell a different story with my other characters.
Right.
And do those 4 issues. And then I want to do another story with my other characters and do another series. And so I don't really want to do 36 issues of one comic. I want to do 4 issues of 7 different titles that are in my head.
Yeah. Well, and also, if I'm writing Batman, I'm not going to give DC Comics. I've got this cool idea for this character that might be a cool Batman Rogues Gallery, but I'm not going to give it to you because I'm going to take it and I'm going to use it in my own thing because I want to own it. Right.
Because Marvel and DC, have been very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it used to not be clear. It used to be fuzzy, but now it's very clear. Who has control. And so it's better. You're better off losing a few bucks.
Yeah.
Making your own thing.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, especially if you believe in yourself and you believe that it is I love this character, it's a great character, but if that's what you believe, and I think every creator should have some of that in them. But if you believe that, why would you give it to somebody else? So
I think every comic book creator who works in the independent market has a touch of madness in them, and I mean that in the best way. It's like,
right.
Otherwise, why do it? It's a slog to make a comic book.
It is,
and you should get your hands dirty and make one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got a bunch of images here. Let me pop up.
Did you get the Batman ones?
Batman.
I sent them on Facebook. They're my absolute favorites.
Well, now I got an email from you, but I had Fantastic Four and had Action.
Yeah. Run over to the Facebook thing for the Silverline Silver Sunday page.
I see Mike's burn. Oh, okay. Open link in the window. All right.
But it's your show, Warren. Do what you want.
Yeah. Let me pull this back over here.
Because almost every image from the first Batman story by Bob Kane, whoever he was traced from a panel that Henry Vallely had done previously in a Big Little book.
Really?
And so the story is written around images that Bob Kane could swipe from, and not just reimagine. He traced them. And there's a couple of blogs out there. There we go. Like this. I mean, look at this. This is super obvious. The top one, the black and white one, is Henry Vallely from the Big Little book, and the bottom one is, Mr. Bob Kane.
Wow.
It doesn't get any clearer.
No,
man,
that's not an homage. That's
and check out this. I don't know. Can you see my? No, you can't see my cursor. Can you see my? Oh yeah. Check out this little right here. Here's his hand here, right?
Yep.
But look what this is not a hand, or either that or it's colored incorrectly.
The colorist didn't catch it.
Yeah, the colorist didn't catch it. Those were supposed to be fingers.
Right. Now it was just like weird wrinkles.
Yeah.
Because Will Eisner said drapery is the hardest thing to draw in comics.
It is.
Yeah. Well, or you just do what he did here, right? It's all black.
Right. And then there's another one.
Yeah. So which one? So another one on Facebook.
Another one with the Batman one. From the Facebook.
Oh, sure is. How do I? All right, open.
Do you need me to call in a teenager to help you?
No, I think I got it. Let's see if it works this way. Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
Same thing. There's Henry Vallely on the top.
Wow.
There's Bob Kane, whoever he is, on the bottom. Same thing. Even got the speed lines. Got everything.
Sure enough. Wow.
It's right there.
Yeah.
So basically, almost every panel in that first Batman story is traced from the same artist.
Well, let me ask you a question. So, looking at this, is this traced, or is this just I'm going to look at it and copy it?
It looks kind of traced.
Yeah.
I mean,
I default to Mike's question. Mike's the artist, so he would.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks pretty close. I mean, it just looks, as far as the placement of the tires,
and
the running board, it just looks traced. It doesn't. I mean, if you're going to do it freehand just by looking at it, you're going to do something different to it. There's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah.
So it's traced.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say even down to these little, I don't know what these things on the bumper are called.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think when Kane sold it and realized he had to produce more all the time, like he was out of stuff to swipe. So that's when he has to hire Jerry Robinson and Win Mortimer and all the other guys to come in and say, look, can you draw this for me?
Yeah.
Let's
So I'm going to say those are swipes.
I'm going to say those are swipes. Yeah.
Or ripoffs, basically.
Ripoffs.
Yeah.
$1 million ripoffs.
Let me let's see here. Window. So this is one of the things that I have. Oh, I gotta get the other one though. I have my version, but not the
Oh no, you gotta
yeah, I gotta go get the original version. But I know where it is though.
Is it on the internet?
It is on the internet.
Well, Mike and I will just talk while you dig around.
Yeah. It won't take me very long to find it. All right. So there is this. One of my favorite Avengers covers. Okay, is this one right here. This is Avengers 150. I had probably been reading the Avengers for about a year at this point, maybe not even quite a year. And I remember getting this. Mine still has the fold in it, right, where you used to come in a little brown wrapper, and the mailman would fold it up and shove it in your.
Yeah.
So mine's got a fold right down the middle of it, right there.
Also, now, the question mark thing is a very Steranko-y kind of thing.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure other comic artists have done it as well, but putting the question mark there is very much a Steranko design element.
So we have this, right?
Oh, even the question mark.
Even the question mark. Yeah. Now, so this is Stephen Butler, Stephen and Tommy. But now I don't know how clearly you can see it, but it does say, well, let me see if I can just zoom up here, right? After George Perez, right? So now I will say this. Stephen's not here to say anything, but I will tell you this. I know that Stephen's not super fond of doing these homage covers. He and I had to talk about it, and he goes, I'll do them. He goes, I don't love doing them. He goes, I understand why people want them. He goes, I'm a fan too. He says, so I understand. He says, but I'm an artist. And he goes, basically, you're just asking me to draw somebody else's cover and put your characters on it. And so he did I've got a couple of them up here from him. So I want to say that in his stead for anybody thinking, oh, Stephen's just white. Well, no.
But also, some of that stuff though is fun for readers of a certain age, because it's like, yes. I know it, because it's not a trace. It's not a copy. It really is. I mean, the poses are different and the characters are different, and even the question mark is different.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun to look at that and go, I've seen that before.
Right. Yeah. And Stephen, let's see, Stephen did another one for me.
But see, that's inspiration. That's homage, because that's not Stephen drawing those characters. You know, he's not drawing the Avengers in that exact same way. That would be a ripoff if those were the Avengers. Right. But since this is the rejects, that's homage. That's I really love that cover. We really love that cover, and we wanted to share the same enthusiasm with these characters. I mean, when I look at that, I don't think ripoff.
No, right. I don't either.
No, I don't either. And I think another part of it is because Stephen does say, he doesn't try to claim this is his, right? He says after George Perez. So he gives a nod to the original artist, right? He's not trying to say, I came up with this. Wait, I thought that was okay. He's not trying to say, I came up with this. He's trying to say, hey, George Perez did this initially. I'm doing my little thing on it. Mostly because Roland asked me to, or I know Brian Polito asked Stephen used to do a lot of those homage covers, right?
Well, also it's not just Stephen Butler; it's you, Roland, saying this was my favorite Avengers cover of all time.
Yes.
And so I don't know where that fits in the category of homage, ripoff, or inspiration by, but it's like it's your version of the favorite cover from your childhood.
Yes.
So,
and of course there's this one now. Tom, I'm guessing you might remember this one as well.
Oh, yeah, this is a great cover. And also, this is the classic cover that almost everybody copies too whenever two teams face off. It always goes down. There's always that perspective going, basically downhill where other characters line, because there's no easy way to show a lineup of two teams facing off.
So, and you see that cover, that's everything you need to know if you want to buy it.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have this right here, right?
Yes, we do.
So
wait, I might have been involved in the production of that.
Yeah, but no, notice too right here. This is Paul Pelletier. It says 93 and Branch after Kane and Ramita.
Yeah,
right.
So clearly, we asked Paul to do this, right? And so he did. So I can do it really, really good here. There's the original, right?
Yeah.
And then there's what Paul did. Clearly, he didn't trace it, right?
Right.
He drew it, but he used that other cover as inspiration. Now, also, then there's this one, and some of these are on Facebook, and some of these are on Photoshop. Is why I have to keep going back and forth. So, and then of course there is this one, which is more recent, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's missing the middle character jumping in. Yeah. And this is Steven again.
Now I don't know if this makes any difference or not, but you could at this point these are almost tropes where that are continuing down through like generations of like, well, at a certain point, two teams of heroes or villains are going to face off, and this is the standard look for that kind of cover.
Yes, like, it is.
It becomes institutionalized at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. I think what you say. Okay, well, I'm expecting this now, right?
Right. Because I would think if you're gonna have two teams of villains or heroes or whatever face off, I really do. I mean, I'm of a certain age, but I really do expect to see that lineup of that downward shot of all of them, all of them gritting their teeth, Ramita style, and getting ready to punch it out.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I got images from you, got images from Mike, but I'm not going to even mention it yet. I'm going to see if it comes up but there's one, maybe the most homage thing that exists today. We have none of us even brought. I didn't bring it up. I didn't put it in any of my image.
I thought I had it.
I don't. I mean, we can talk about it if it is, but in my mind, it's the most. It's the most swiped. David Rios says, I have had someone copy an X-Men page I did and slightly modify it and pass it as their own.
Yeah,
that's not right.
That's skeevy.
Yeah, that's I think that goes beyond ripoff. That's almost theft, isn't it?
Also good for Rios though. As somebody looked at his art and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to take this and make it my own."
Yeah. All right. So the next image I'm going to put up is going to be this one then. All right. Who was that one?
It's Mr. Byrne.
Yeah.
That is Mr. Byrne. Look at all the type on that cover.
I know. How do I? No, I didn't. I was trying to zoom it.
It's better than the Action Comics of the 60s where Superman's being turned into a giant bear or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So is this the original one then, Mike?
I think I accidentally sent that one. I think that's the one that doesn't have actual flap to it. Because that one and the other Action, there's another Action cover that looks like that Fantastic Four cover.
All right.
Like I said, I grabbed that one accidentally.
Okay. So, all right. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So this is Byrne swiping himself, right?
Because again, he only swipes from the best. That's a quote. I'm not making fun. He's
I love it every time I hear it though.
Yeah. He only swipes from the best.
And of course there are some differences here, right? I mean, clearly his arms are not spread out wide, and his head is not kicked back and screaming.
Right.
Oh, this is a much better picture. But
also, go ahead.
Between this one and then you got the West Coast Avengers one with the torch on it.
Right.
Oh wow, that's clearly Superman.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah. All right. So if you're, let's come up with a name for it. What is it? If you swipe yourself, right? What is that? What is that?
There is, speaking of Byrne, there's an issue of She-Hulk where he starts out the first 6 pages drawing like Rob Liefeld. I mean, exactly like Rob Liefeld. It is panel for panel. And at the end of it, his editor comes off of the fourth wall and tells him to quit doing it. And he says, she said, this isn't even a homage. He says, well, it's a fromage. And she says, well, that's a cheese. And so, but that's the way he described doing this kind of stuff. It was a fromage. So maybe that's what we could call this.
What does fromage mean?
Fromage is a cheese. I mean, but in Burns' thing, it was ripping off somebody else's layouts and copy.
Huh.
So I think it almost feels like Byrne is making his own trope. Like
exactly. He's done that pose so many times. I mean, I don't think I even hit most of them.
All right.
I think if he was still drawing comics today, he would do that pose again in some other book.
Do it in a heartbeat.
And people would go, "Oh, that's Byrne's doing his Byrne thing," where it's just like.
Well, so I suspect if we were to go back and look at it, because I read a whole bunch of I read all the Alpha Flight, I read the bunch of the Next Men, his Fantastic Four, and there are times when you look, I'm like, that panel looks familiar,
right?
And I think he probably borrows, fromages, whatever you want to call it, a whole lot of his art, interior storytelling art, not just his cover art, but a lot of his storytelling art, because over and over and over again, because it works. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you talk about Wally Wood, that's that 22 panels that always work, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's just all it is just, I mean, none of it is none of them make you go, oh wow, that's I never would have thought it. No, it's all pretty, two shot, frame, sidelight, and it's all self-explanatory. Nothing's hard about it.
Right.
So Benjamin Soto wins, guys. He says, I've seen so many McFarlane Spider-Man 1 homages, I'm over them.
There you go.
That's the one that I would have thought.
The thing is about the Spider-Man #1 cover is that there's no drama to it. There's no story there. It's just a pose. It looks sort of like it's like a family photo from a picnic, basically, where it's just it doesn't compel me to want to pick up the issue. But when I see all the superheroes squaring off against each other, there's a story there. I want to know more. When I see angry Namor flying up from the surface, the angry surface, ready to fight, it's like, well, I want to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. But when I see McFarlane Spider-Man, it's busy. There's a lot going on with the webs and everything. Then it's cool, but it's like, well, it's just a pose.
Yeah,
it's a pinup. It's not a story.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one that I'm surprised that none of us brought up. This McFarlane Spider-Man #1, because I don't know if anyone counts homages or swipe covers, but I would say if I were guessing, that's probably been swiped more than any other cover around.
And Dark Knight Returns has been swiped a lot too.
It has, yeah.
But I don't think it comes close to the McFarlane one.
Eternity also did one, didn't they? Dark Knight Returns. We
didn't publish that one, I don't think.
Oh,
maybe we did. I don't know.
This might have been before Eternity was part of the Malibu umbrella.
Yeah,
huh?
But there was the, I think,
you remember the Mighty Mites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was before my time.
Okay. Yeah, but they had the Mighty Mites had, I think, the Dark Might Returns, and it had an homage of the Dark Knight cover. All right, so what else is in here then? This right here, probably one of my all-time favorite Avengers covers.
Yeah, you got the Buscema with Byrne doing Buscema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then John Byrne does that. A lot of people talk about this. I don't like the White Vision. I don't like it.
I thought it was something different. I was never a Vision fan. Of course, I wasn't a Vision fan after he turned white either. But at least somebody was doing something with him. I mean, I never cared for the Vision. It's just it's a character. No matter if it was Roy Thomas or Englehart or anybody, I just never really got him.
Oh. See, it was my favorite character.
Really?
Oh yeah, Roy.
I'm with Mike on this. I stand together with Mike Belcher.
Yeah, he was the Vision was one of my favorite Avengers.
No, because to me he came off like somebody was trying to write Spock.
Yeah.
But without any sort of hint of any real personality, or without any he felt more robotic than I wanted him to be. Like he never felt like a real character.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to be robotic. That was part of the.
But every time there's a robotic character, whether it's Data on Star Trek or or the robot from Lost in Space or whatever, I'm always looking for something in the robot where it's like he's learning, he's trying to be human, he's trying to be an actual character, not trying to be like a machine.
Well, now Englehart did a lot of that because he fell in love with Wanda. What do you mean? That was awesome stuff.
Still felt cold to me.
Yeah. So I just never liked the character. I mean, it's just, and I actually disliked him more in the movies. Bettany didn't do anything. I mean, it's just, I guess, like I said, I just have a aversion for the character.
I much prefer the recorder to the
There you go. I agree.
The recorder would play back stuff. It's like, you didn't say that. You said this. And so he was kind of a jackass. And so I like the recorder much better.
So fun fact that comic book geeks, you guys probably know, the Vision, right? He's an android, but this body is the original Human Torch from the 1940s.
Toro, right?
No, Torch.
No, Toro's a little guy.
No. The whole point of this story was to prove he wasn't. This was Byrne saying no, he's not the Human Torch, because that Torch cover I showed you is them finding the torch in a graveyard with the Vision in right next to him. So it was the whole storyline was, hey, everything you thought you knew about the Vision wasn't real. He's not a rebuilt Human Torch. He's his own thing.
This has been Make Mine Marvel with Mike Belcher.
There you go. And then they did absolutely nothing with the Human Torch when he brought him back. So it was just like, okay, well, that was nice.
So they brought back the original Human Torch in the android body?
In the Jim, I can't remember his last name, but yeah, they had him rolling around the Marvel Universe again. But you had Johnny Storm already around, so I guess nobody wanted to do anything with him. But
no, but look, to have there is somewhere along the way there is a great story with two Human Torches.
Oh yeah.
It's just waiting to be told.
Well, they're two different kind of characters. You have a character that was from the 40s who's got his, who's trying to be human, who really is pretty close to being human. Right. And then you got a hotshot teenager. So I mean, there's two different personalities if you really wanted to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, of course, you already mentioned Toro. That's kind of what Toro was.
Yeah.
This funny. All right, let me go to these. Let me get out of here. I think I got all these except for that one. And that one didn't have one, huh, Mike?
Yeah, I grabbed it accidentally. I thought because I was thinking it was that one, but there's another one that's Superman. I think the one I sent you one that is Superman with I think Brock from Legion of Superheroes over top of his head. So I do believe I did get you one that matched up with that Gladiator, that Fantastic Four. It should be in there.
Let me see if it's well, no, that's Fantastic Four. Let's see. Well, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, just a second. I'm checking. Oh, I found it. Okay, Sam.
Oh yeah. That's funny.
That's the one I meant to send.
All right, so let's do this again then. Present. There's that one then, and that one.
And the thing one,
Yeah. Thing, okay.
But really, I was a strong guy going to lift another strong guy. It's just like, I'm showing off now. I got my one hand up.
So here's what I love the way he's picking up Reed, and Reed's just all dangling down like a rubber band.
Yeah.
I love that.
he's all stretched out like a broken toy.
Speaking of which, have you guys seen the Fantastic Four trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I am optimistic. I like the idea that it's a throwback to the 60s. And the appearance of Herbie was shocked the crap out of me. The only thing it didn't show, I don't know if you guys caught this, it didn't show Reed stretching at all.
Right. Because I think that's too freaky for civilians to get past.
But there was a little nod to it, because when he was scribbling on the chalkboard, it was a very elongated chalkboard, that you could see in the screen. Probably he'll be stretching, writing,
writing
the room. So it was a very long chalkboard. So
I thought the Human Torch looked great.
Yeah. I thought they did a good job setting it up as a family movie.
Yeah.
and not so much the we're going to watch superheroes fight supervillains movie.
Right.
And so I think it's really good at setting it up. You could see, and again, I know this is sexist, but you can see where movie people are going, we got to get guys to take their dates to go to the movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's make it a family movie. Look, they're making risotto and, you know, they're hanging out like a family and they're driving a fast car or whatever.
And she even makes a comment. You know, we're going to tackle this as a family.
Right.
You know, I don't remember the exact line, but you know, we're going to handle this like a family.
But you know, those two other Fantastic Four movies in the early 2000s did the same thing. They were about family. I want them to nail the adventure. I want them, you know, because those movies were basically just fighting somebody. It was just here's a pawn. I want them, you know, going into the negative zone, exploring and coming across all these weird, you know, that's the heart of the Fantastic Four. It's not fighting, it's discovering and then having the family drama. You know, I think that's what everybody's missed. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see it. The trailer looks great. I love the way the Thing looks.
Yeah.
He's always looked the weakest in the other Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah.
But it's got a couple of strikes against it in that there've already been 3 Fantastic Four movies.
Yes.
Before them. And there's already been The Incredibles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I think you know, for audience satisfaction, Fantastic Four has a high bar now that other Marvel movies didn't have. And so I don't know. I'm eager to see it because I want them to go over that bar. I want them to achieve.
Yeah.
But I also want what Mike says. If it's just going to be they're going to fist fight Galactus in front of the Empire State Building, well, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
It's my thing. I really want it, because the thing about Fantastic Four to me was not, oh, look, you know, the mailman is delivering the mail to the Baxter Building. I don't care about that stuff. What I care about is when they would put on these giant Kirby machines.
Yes.
And they would go off into space and they would fight the whatever was happening over there in some strange new world. It's basically like a weird Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I want to see.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the 60s vibe. I'm okay with that. But I don't need to see them going to the discotheque. I don't see them meeting hippies. I don't need to see them doing all that stuff. I need them to establish that it's 1960s, and I need to get them up in space.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it. So
Bohemian poetry and just give me adventure.
Yeah, I don't want to see Alicia make another statue of Ben. I don't need any of that.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah.
Get to the adventure.
Yeah.
And don't hold back. Don't give me a bunch of stuff and then say it's going to happen in the second installment. Give it to me all.
Right. Yeah.
There's my rant. I'm done now.
Yeah.
And I agree with that rant. Give me a nihilist. Give me all these things. You know, I want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. If my one little quibble was Ben's voice.
Yeah.
I always heard, cause you know, keep in mind, I'm a Mississippi boy. And every time I read the description of Ben's voice, it was always a rough, gravelly, you know, voice. And also he had that heavy New York accent. I didn't think I don't know who the actor is. I wanted his voice to be a little bit different. I thought he looked good.
Yeah.
I always thought that Mr. Fantastic was Stan Lee, and I always thought that the Thing was Kirby.
Yes.
And so when I heard Kirby interviewed and I heard Kirby talk, that was in my head. Like, okay, that's Ben Grimm to me. That's Kirby.
Well, and Kirby had that cigar, right?
And Kirby was always like, I'm gonna fight Nazis or whatever. He's always, you know, when Nazis would come to New York City and they would come to me in Brooklyn, and I would punch them out. And it's whatever. That's
over on Yancey Street.
Right. That to me, that's Ben Grimm.
Yeah. Yeah. So that again, that's a little quibble. But I watched it with my son, and the first time I saw it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm really excited. The Herbie thing, you know, caught me by surprise. I did not expect that at all, but I thought it was kind of a nifty little addition. I remember the Herbie from the cartoons. I'm sure you guys do too.
Yeah. Because the thing that gives me hope is, like, when I first saw the trailer for Iron Man way back when the Marvel movies were just starting, I was not intrigued at all.
Right.
I thought, because Iron Man to me is like the lesser Marvel character.
Right.
If you were going to ask me what Marvel movie I want to see first, it would not be Iron Man.
Right.
Iron Man would be like number 10 or 12 on the list or whatever. But they they pulled it off, and they made me
Yes.
care, and they took out all the goofy stuff about Iron Man, and they kept all the new stuff, and they made it more modern. And so I always have hope that, well, I don't really want to see a Fantastic Four movie necessarily, but I do want to see this one.
Yeah. Well, and I've always thought, Fantastic Four is the first family of Marvel. Right. I mean, it needs to be that. It needs to be the first family of Marvel in the movies, right? So yeah, I'm cheering for it. I sure hope it's better than Captain Falcon. All right, so
get back to the swipes.
Yes, here we go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
So this is a character called Captain Strong, who is really just Popeye.
Popeye, yeah.
So that's, it's like, hey, we need a villain for Superman this month. What do you got? Well, how about Popeye?
Why not?
Yeah, because when you're putting out these comic books every month or whatever, sooner or later somebody's going to say we should do Popeye.
All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. We so far we've mostly talked, and I think a lot of what we still have is cover swipes. But what about characters like that, right? If you take a character and maybe change the color of his shirt, he doesn't have a pipe. It doesn't look like.
No, because you probably couldn't smoke in a DC comic back then.
Really, even that far?
I'm making that up, but
okay. Because Wolverine, the Thing, and Nick Fury all used to smoke cigars, but they don't. Any of them smoke anymore.
No,
in the comics.
Yeah, because Joe Quesada, his dad died of lung cancer, and he made an edict from that point on: no more smoking in the Marvel universe.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So there's a period. This is the period in at DC anyway. It certainly was Superman, where there are at least 3 Superman villains who are just like oddballs. There's this Captain Strong. They did one that looks exactly like the movies. Looks like Sean Connery in the movie Zardoz.
Okay, hold on.
There's another guy. There we go. Whoops. That's Sean Connery in Zardoz. And then there's a Superman comic. There he is. Almost the same character.
Yeah.
And then I didn't put this in there, but there's a character on a winged horse that looks exactly like Clint Eastwood in the spaghetti westerns, Man with No Name. He's got the same cowboy hat. He's got the wraparound shawl, and he's got 2 6 guns, and he rides a flying horse. And so they took from the movies or from other sources and made them into Superman villains. I find that and again, they're not really swipes necessarily, but they're certainly influenced by.
They're identifiable. As soon as you see that, you think Popeye.
Right.
Yeah.
That is Popeye.
I mean,
come on.
That's until you said Captain Strong, I would have like, hey, it's Popeye.
Right.
He's just missing the pipe.
Yeah, and the skinny girl and the fat guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also typical of Superman, he's trapped in a box, which is like, okay,
made of glass.
Right. It's like, okay, the world's strongest superhero is in a box of glass. Oh, how will he ever get out of that?
Oh no.
Quick, Superman, eat some spinach.
Oh, this is Ardov here though.
Right.
That's just Sean Connery. Oh my gosh. That has to be one he looks at and goes, "Did I do that?"
Yeah, what the heck was that?
That's exactly Zardov though. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean,
right? It's
that's
like
funny. Yeah,
that's so awesome.
All right, so then we have.
Oh, so these are all the Superman #1 or Action Comics #1 things.
All right, so there's. Hold on.
So that's Wonder Comics, where it's basically leaping over a tall building.
All right.
And he's crushing an airplane instead of a car. And there's
so hold on. There's Action #1.
There's a classic, Superman crushing a car.
Okay.
As an angry Superman will do.
All right. And
there's Wonder Man, and there's the homage we did.
Yeah.
Prime. The car and as a hologram. By Norm Brayfogle. And then there's
another one. Yeah.
He's throwing the car. And I think there's Wonder Man. I think those are the only 3 that I found.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But there's this thing of new superheroes debuting in the late 30s, early 40s, where you got to show off your power by throwing a vehicle.
Well,
And I assume that
Prime did it. Yeah, look at that.
Prime did it.
Stopping an airplane.
Stopping an airplane
while leaping over a building.
Right. And so
That's
I think
funny.
It's just, and Wonder Comics got sued for Wonder Man because they claimed he was a Superman ripoff, and they had to shut it down after 2 issues.
Really?
Yeah. That's I don't know if that's an Eisner cover, but Eisner is the one who created Wonder Man.
He did.
Well, so Wonder Man shows up later in at Marvel.
Different Wonder Man.
Yeah, different Wonder Man.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. All right. So next we have, it looks like, Fantastic Four.
There's 1,000 of those too.
Yeah. So there's the original one.
There's the original.
And then we've got this.
Yep. Homage.
Yeah. Now that's clearly an homage color.
Yeah.
Cover, right?
They put it in the corner too.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The poses are different. Everything's a little bit different.
Yeah. And it's more energetic, but the feel is the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course,
Ben's got pants
this
on.
one.
That one, that's Alex Ross, I think.
Yep. Yeah. And Married with Children.
Yep, they did one with the Quantum Quartet.
That's funny. They homage themselves.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, it's different, but it's similar.
You're right. Yeah. I used to love the way they put the art in these little boxes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did that for about a year or something like that, all the Marvel comics. Until someone came along, I guess, and said, yeah, don't do that anymore. Simpsons. That's great. And I would say all of these are clearly homage covers.
Right. There's Byrne doing it. I love that one. That one just makes me laugh every time I see it.
Yeah.
Yes. And Amazing Heroes.
There's another John Byrne one.
Yeah. Wait, is that the same one? Almost? No, it can't be the same one because
No, that's just Byrne doing Kirby.
Yeah. And then you have one other Wiz here. Wiz.
Oh yeah, Wiz 22.
Yeah.
There's that one, and then there's the Prime one. Nope, the other Prime one.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And that's the thing where we told the artist to do it. Like there's so much similarity between the origins of Captain Marvel and Prime that we should pay tribute to it. So it's more.
Yeah.
Who did that?
Homage.
I remember seeing that, but who was the artist?
Oh, no, I should have looked that up. I didn't look it up.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I did. It just looked familiar.
I love it. It looks great.
I know. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah. I think so too.
Which is funny because I've seen it online where people are like, "Oh, the artist just ripped that off." It's like, well, we told him to.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't a lazy artist, just tracing something. It's like we said we would like to pay homage to the similarities between Prime and Captain Marvel.
Yeah. So I think those are. So I think the first things we looked at, the Batman stuff, those were ripoffs.
Oh
right?
yeah,
that's just
absolutely.
That's just a ripoff. And I think all these homage covers. I think when you take something that's clearly popular, I think those are homage covers. I think you're and Benjamin mentions this, the McFarlane Spider-Man. I see that one all the time as well. And I think those are homages. People are saying, "Hey, this cover is so good. It's so recognizable. I'm going to do my own." Right.
Well, and I think it's part of the industry now. It's like we expect at a certain point, like in my lifetime, I expect to see another Fantastic Four #1 variant cover.
Oh yeah.
I expect to see someone do another Dark Knight Returns #1 kind of cover. I expect to see somebody else do the McFarlane cover for whatever reason.
Right.
I sort of, I mean,
The Superman cover.
Right. I'll be happy when I see it. I won't be disappointed if I don't, but it's like there are certain tropes associated with comic books where it's like, yeah, I'm going to see that again.
Right.
Well, it speaks comics because you think about the hard traveling heroes with Green Lantern, that Neil Adams cover with Green Arrow shooting that Green Lantern in the foreground.
Right.
Those are just, they're part of comics. They're I'm with you. They're tropes. They're no longer homages. They're just, they're so well known. I mean, they're just as well known as anything because these covers have been such a feature of those characters.
I think that's different from tracing storytelling pages in the inside of the comics.
Yeah,
we're just looking at covers, and covers I think are a different beast than somebody who is tracing another artist's style to pass it off as their own in a comic book. I don't see that kind of thing as much anymore as I used to. But I love the cover homages.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. Well, I think, let's talk about characters a little bit. I mean, that's maybe a little bit more difficult to pull up on the screen, but you almost can't mention any of them without someone think you're poking at the creators.
Well, you can do there's Kazar and then there's Tarzan.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
then, is that an homage? Is that an inspired by? Is that a ripoff?
Well, Kazar goes back a long ways.
Yeah.
But he doesn't precede Tarzan. I think Tarzan.
No, I was going to say I don't think he goes back to
Tarzan.
Tarzan.
I think Kazar was just somebody just said let's imitate Tarzan.
So I know, and only because I teach it in my class, I know that Kazar goes back to at least Marvel Comics #1 from about 1940-41.
Right.
Because he's listed on the cover.
Right.
The Marvel Comics #1 that has the Human Torch, burning through the wall or whatever it is. He's listed on Kazar's listed on there. Angel's listed on there. The Masked Rider is listed on there. Somebody else is listed on there. I can't remember who else it was now. But Tarzan I think goes back to the 30s.
Right. Yeah. No, Tarzan is first, and then you've got. I mean, Charlton had a Hercules. DC had a Hercules. Marvel had a Hercules. So are they? They're just. I mean, Hercules is public domain because he's a Greek mythology.
Yeah.
But everybody's got one. and Marvel had Rawhide Kid, Two Gun Kid, Kid Cold Outlaw. They're basically the same guy.
I never could get when I was a kid. I never knew the difference.
There's no. I defy anyone to tell me there's a difference in story between Rawhide Kid and Kid Cold Outlaw. They basically ride into town. There's trouble. They shoot their way out of it. They go to the next town. There's not. There's no. I mean, Two Gun Kid had two guns. That's the big difference. and I think he had a mask, but it's the same thing. And there've been a dozen different Lone Ranger type of characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's what's popular. All during those times, you have just publishers saying, we just want to sell this comic.
Yeah.
You think about the 30s and the 40s and all those public domain characters, we think of it from our point of view, which is, oh, those guys are ripoff. It's like, well, not really, because this character is kind of going off of this vibe, but these were new characters to them. These were new worlds. So you had characters in the 40s, that were just barely a year or two old, and who knew that comics were going to be, we're still talking about them.
Right.
Those publishers were just trying to think, I want to sell a comic this month, and this is popular, so create me a character like this one, and we'll sell it. So you have a lot of characters and that's the reason a lot of those public domain characters didn't survive, is because they didn't have the longevity.
Yeah.
But a lot of those characters, they're derivative, but at the same token, it was just to sell the comic that month.
Yeah, because Batman is just Zorro.
Yeah.
Batman has a ton of Zorro tropes in him that you think that once you look at Batman, if you're a kid discovering Batman for the first time, you would go, man, this is so cool. And then you read Zorro, it's like, oh wait.
Yeah.
All that stuff came from Zorro. And so And so it's just, and you can see how comic books just mimic pop culture. Like when the space race was on, well, we're going to send the Fantastic Four into space, and that's how they get their powers. They're astronauts, or whatever.
Right.
And so whatever was going on in, when World War II broke out, well, we're going to send our superheroes in to fight the war.
Yeah.
And so that's where they went. And so they've sort of mirrored popular history.
Right.
Because everyone, what Mike said, everyone's trying to find a way to get these things to sell.
Yep.
And if somebody comes in and says, "Hey, you know what? Jungle comics are selling really well," then you're going to start publishing Jungle comics, and that's
right. Yeah. Give me Sheena.
Yeah. We'll do Tarzan, but it's a woman.
Yeah,
that's right.
And to wear as little clothing as possible, and so that's
as little clothing as a code will allow.
Right, and so that's it's because it's like television. You're making mass entertainment on a regular schedule where you're just grinding this stuff out.
Yeah.
And whatever, and that's why when the weird stuff comes along, like Howard the Duck or some other stuff, then it's like it really sort of stands out, because where does Howard the Duck come from? There is no way. Maybe it's Donald Duck with a cigar or whatever, but is it?
I don't know. Yeah. I haven't read Howard. I would say it's more than that.
Right. Howard the Duck is really Gerber being angry at the world.
Yes.
And channeling his rage through a talking duck. So because a drawing of Gerber mouthing off that stuff is not interesting. So
no one wants to see that.
Right. Hey, did you get the new Steve Gerber comic where Steve Gerber is smoking a cigar and talking trash? Like, no. Make the guy a duck. And now all of a sudden, now it's something.
Yeah. Make him a cigar chain smoking duck.
Right.
Yeah.
Who fights? Go ahead.
Agent Cub says Squadron Supreme and Justice League. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, before the Fantastic Four, Kirby had created the Challenges of the Unknown.
Right. Yeah.
Which is basically the same archetypes, only it's 4 guys instead of 3 guys and a woman.
Yeah.
But
they didn't have powers.
Right. Well, because they were living on borrowed time.
Yes. They only had so much to do.
But it's the same, and Doom Patrol and X-Men.
Yeah.
They're in the original versions. And so I think comics has always copied itself, traced itself, and homaged itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think and I think part of the challenge is how do you make it original if you're going to do that, right? I never hide the fact that I can't reach it. That the character that I created is greatly inspired by the Beast, the blue furry version of the Beast,
the fun
right?
version.
The fun
version.
Yeah. Because that was the Beast of my childhood, right? And I love the Beast in the Avengers, and it greatly inspired the Demon.
Because the thing for me is you can look at, and this is the most outrageous example, you can look at the Challenges of the Unknown, and you can say, well, yes, this is basically the earlier version of Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But when Kirby took the similar idea and turned it into the Fantastic Four, he amped it up.
Right.
By exponential, like 10 times.
Yeah.
So it's similar, but it's so different.
Right.
That it succeeds beyond anybody's wildest dreams, because he made one of the guys a fire, he made one of the guys a rock, he made the woman, he put a woman in place of a man and made her invisible, and then he made a stretchy guy who basically goes back to Plastic Man.
Well, and in indie comics, you've got the Elementals. I mean, if that's not the Fantastic Four,
right?
But
it's different because he made it more of a General Hospital type of soap opera.
Yes, yeah,
and that's what you have to do. You have to find your own spin on it. I mean, I mean, there's being derivative, and then there's being inspired by. It's taking certain things that you like about comics and trying to find something that makes it different, but at the same time familiar.
Well, that's the thing too, and I'm sure Mike can speak to this better. Like Grendel.
Yeah.
Grendel has very similar things to other comics that were coming out in the past. However, Wagner brings Wagner to it.
Yes.
And makes it so it's, if you like comics, you'll like Grendel. However, it's it's really different.
It's really
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
But it still fits in with the the genre of comics.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at the time period in which it debuted, right, you're like, oh, I get it now. I understand why this is like it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Agent Cub has another question here. On cover homages, what do you guys think of Do You Poo and Venomous Ponies homaging popular covers? I don't know Venomous Ponies. I know Do You Poo, and I think it's. I mean, I think he's just. I've never. I hope Murat's not listening because I like Murat. I've never seen the interiors, so I don't know. I don't even know what the interiors look like.
No, I've just seen covers.
Yeah, same here.
They're almost like, to me, they're almost like Mad Magazine parodies.
Yeah,
where they're funny, and they're homage, but
right.
I don't see them the same way that I do, Byrne doing his covers or Buscema copying himself or whatever.
Right.
So it's almost a different category for me.
Yeah. And I'm not familiar with Venomous Ponies. Are you guys?
No, I have no idea.
I have no idea. I'm unplugged.
Yeah. I do know the Do You Poo. But I don't. I'm guessing Venomous Ponies is also Murat Michaels.
Also the thing with Murat's Do You Poo stuff is he's managed to make himself a cottage industry.
Yes, he has.
Out of that, which I respect and admire, because it's
absolutely.
It's hard. We all know it's hard to make a living in independent comics.
Yes.
And we're talking about it, so he's accomplished something.
Yeah. And he's always posting. He's always going to shows. He's always he's doing very well for himself. So I think that bless him, I guess, because he's made his niche.
Yeah. Absolutely. So can got have anything to add?
No,
Only a question.
I think we've been inspired and swapped as much as we can.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think we've covered all the bases today.
Yeah, I think so too. I like I certainly like some inspired bys, right? Especially if it's a character that you like. Let's just say Spider-Man, right? Tommy was here. I know Spider-Man is one of Tommy's favorite characters, or might be his favorite character.
Right.
If you tell me this character is like Spider-Man, I'm going to be interested because I like Spider-Man. Now, does he shoot out at web, and is he exactly like that? Well, then maybe I'm not interested.
But to me, the Spider-Man is. To me, if someone says it's like Spider-Man, it isn't so much the web slinging, wall sticking, wall crawler kind of thing. It's the vibe.
Yes,
the humanity.
Right. It's so the thing is, it's like if you tell me there's no. I love Justified the TV show, but there's no Justified in comics. Well, yes, there is. It's Mike's comic. It's Man of the Mask.
Yeah.
And so that's where. But is it Justified? No, it's not.
No.
But if you like Justified, this is a place to go. And I think that's where, do you like Spider-Man? I like the vibe of Spider-Man. Then this is where I want to go. Right. And what I really like about Spider-Man is I like the early vibe where Peter Parker was single and he was struggling and he was trying to make a name for himself in the big city. I liked that kind of, pressure cooker that he was in.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, there's a guy with 8 arms trying to kill him.
Do you know the other thing I like about Spider-Man that I think they've destroyed on every front? He had the secret of his identity. No one knew.
Yeah.
No one knew, right? And now in the movies, people know. In the comic books, people know. Part of what I think was fascinating to me as a reader is that he had the secret and he wanted to tell people, right? He wanted to tell Gwen Stacy, right? He wanted to tell his best friend. Every time Norman Osborn found out he had Spider-Man beat him and then his brain went back and he forgot it all, right? Yeah, he had amnesia. I'm
over all that though. It's fine with me because I don't.
I like that though.
Because you're 1,000 issues of Spider-Man in. It's like, if it was like issue 6 of the original Spider-Man by Ditko and Lee, then that would bother me. But we're 1,000 issues in. It's like, get over it. And so,
But I think that's part of the problem I had with the movies is that he just started revealing his. So I would argue that the movies are issues 1 and 2 and 3, right? As well.
Yeah.
And he just starts telling people his identity. I'm like, well, you're destroying everything that makes him interesting right off the top.
Well, they made it interesting in the 60s and 70s. I think to the modern kid, to the TikTok kids and the Reddit kids and all the other kids.
You don't think they have secrets?
No. Well, they have different secrets. They have
different secrets, but
the identity is not a secret anymore because their identity is online now. So their whole life is out there. And so I think the new Spider-Man movies are reflective of the age of the kids.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. Maybe I thought about it that way.
we because part of our thing when we were kids was comic books was our secret.
Yeah.
And so we identified with characters who kept secrets because we tended to keep our reading and our love of comics secret from our friends so we didn't get made fun of.
Right.
So we had secrets so we could identify with heroes who had secrets. I think the world has moved on from that now where it's like everything about me is online. All my secrets, except for my gross, dirty ones, are out there for everyone to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe there's still secrets out there. Maybe that's just me a holdover from the time period. But
maybe there's an opportunity now to do a character who has the secret identity, who captures the vibe of the early Spider-Man secrets.
Yeah. Agent Cub says the TikTok kids keep their secret from their parents, but tell the world all.
Yeah. That's right. That's exactly right. They do. They tell.
Yeah. Lark Bark, what's up, Lark Bark? Good to see you here. Thanks for hanging out with us. He goes, that is the era of comics. That is the era of comic books I miss when comic books meant something. So,
but they meant something because you were of a certain age.
Yeah.
It's
well, and so Lark Bark, I'm going to say this, and maybe these guys will agree with me. Is that I think maybe. I think comics still mean something, but I think maybe the problem that we sometimes have is we're looking for the same comics that we read 40 years ago to mean something, and you're looking in the wrong places.
You got to find the new comic that makes you feel that way.
Yeah.
Yes, that is 100% what I believe is that we have to stop. And I'm guilty of it too. Listen, I'm not pointing fingers because what did I bring up? I brought up Avengers, right? I still would like to see the Avengers mean something to me, but I got to realize that today's Avengers aren't going to mean anything to me because they're not written for me. Also, I gotta look somewhere else.
And the good thing about it, though, is your Avengers will always be there.
Yes. Yeah.
You can go back and read those things. And, my dad never went around the house going, I got to find a TV show that hits me like Gunsmoke.
No, you're right. He just watched Gunsmoke again.
He just watched Gunsmoke again.
Right.
You know what I'm going to watch? I'm going to watch a 50-year-old episode of Gunsmoke because that's going to give me all those feels again.
You're right. Yeah, my dad would just watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I don't need that new cowboy stuff.
Dad, what are you watching? Gunsmoke. Haven't you seen it before? Yeah, but it's good.
It's better than anything out there.
Where Marshall Dillon goes out of town, and then there's trouble in the town, and then he comes back at the end of the episode and shoots everybody.
Shane was one of my dad's all-time favorite movies.
Yeah,
I would go, Shane, come back, Shane.
Which is funny because Shane is a story about a man who leaves his kid. My dad loved that movie about the guy who left his kid.
Lark Bar says, yo, they represent Mickey D's. All right. So, y'all have anything to add? Man, I zoomed in so far. I can't even see my calendar here.
No, but I think Agent Cub gets the best comment of the night. The one where the TikTok kids keep their secrets from their parents. Tell everybody online. That should be my back tattoo.
Your back tattoo. All right. Well, if you guys have nothing else to add, then
I got nothing. Close it out.
All right. On Tuesday, illustrating Westerns as comics, the crew explains how you can illustrate comics in the Western genre. Hey, we were just talking about Westerns here.
Wasn't that last week's show?
I think they're writing Western comics.
Oh, writing Western.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
So we're continuing the Western theme.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And then Wednesday, BJ Man, I know that name, talks social media in the comic world, how to utilize one of our most valuable resources to promote and sell comics. And I'll tell you what, that is something that we talk about all the time, how you can really tell the creators that get the social media stuff and those that don't.
Oh,
right.
So many people are, I talk about this with my friends all the time. So many people are so terrible at social media.
Yes.
They're arguing, they're fighting, they're picking arguments. They're trying to, it's like, no, that's not what social media is.
No. And the thing about it is too, you got to realize is that, hey, you know what? If you watch any votes, the world, well, not the world, the United States is about 50-50. So if you're going to go on and argue politics or really anything like that, you're turning off about half of your audience. Why would you want to do that?
McDonald's doesn't take a side.
No. So
they sell crappy hamburgers.
They'll sell a Big Mac to anybody, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's like, yeah, don't do that. Just talk about comic books, talk about movies. And next week, one-hit wonders in comics. The Silver Sunday crew turn through the pages of their collective memories to remember comic book one-hit wonders. What characters, teams hit hot, burned bright, and then disappeared?
Oh man, so many.
That's what we're going to talk about next week. And for those of you, I dropped you hints at the top of the show. In 2 weeks, we're going to have Ben Dunn, who is the founder of Antarctic Press, and Malibu's former publisher Dave Olbrich here. And they're going to talk about, we're all going to talk about distribution problems and fixes and what this whole diamond thing maybe mean, right? We're just going to talk about all kinds of distribution with these guys who know about that kind of stuff. So,
sorry, I was just reading Agent Cub's comment.
Let's talk about it right now. I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got to wait for next week, Agent Cub. So,
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. 2 weeks for that one. So for all of you who tuned in on the Facebooks, on the YouTubes, on the Twitters, and on the Rumbles, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Don't be shy. Speak up whenever you see us on here. We'll always try to read out unless you're being mean, which doesn't happen for us, but unless you're being mean, we always try to read out your comments. Ask questions. We like to chase rabbits. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and share it away. And hold on, let me get there. And until next time, remember to
make mine
Silverline. Good night, everyone. Where is the...
Click on the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days.
Hi, I'm Greg Horn. Make mine Silverline.